The field hockey team competes for the NJAC title.
And the swimming and diving team continues their win streak.
It's all access with the Profs, and it starts right now. Welcome to All Access, where stars are born. I'm Rebecca Solsback.
And I'm Derek Hill. Stars are born among our on-air talent each week, but they are also born on our Rowan sports teams. Rebecca?
Thank you. The Rowan University field hockey team defeated the College of New Jersey on Saturday in the NJAC finals. The score ended 2-0. Midfielder Molly Gorczyska had the first goal for Rowan. She knocked in a shot with an assist from forward Christina Havel. Forward Rachel Galante scored Rowan's second goal. Galante leads Rowan with 26 goals. Rowan goalie Morgan Novak had 7 saves, which led to her 6th shutout. Rowan had 15 shots, and the College of New Jersey had 11. Rowan claimed the NJAC title.
The football team traveled to Montclair State on Saturday to take on the Red Hawks. The team fell in a hole at the end of the first half, trailing 28-0. The Red Hawks put up 14 points in the first and second quarter, with quarterback Jaquil Birch throwing 4 touchdowns. After a scoreless third quarter, the Profs attempted to make a comeback in the fourth. Riley Giles threw a 73-yard passing touchdown to Elijah Rem to get the team on the board. Only a minute later, Nate Lanier would snatch a pick-6 for the Profs. Despite the late scoring, the team would fall to the Red Hawks 28-14. The Profs fall to 5-4 on the season as they take on Keene University on Friday.
The College of New Jersey women's soccer team defeated Rowan University on Saturday night in the NJAC championship tournament. TCNJ defeated Rowan with a score of 1-0 in overtime. With only 2 minutes left in the second 10-minute overtime, midfielder Taylor Nolan from TCNJ scored the game-winning goal. The Lions were the top seed in the conference tournament, and the Profs were seeded second. Rowan goalie Shelby Money had 6 saves.
As the basketball and football season continue, our Kayla Santiago joins us for this week's Pro Talk.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Pro Talk. I am your host, Kayla Santiago, keeping you up to date with all the news happening in pro sports. Let's get started. For the first 8 weeks of football, the Los Angeles Rams were the only team that remained undefeated at an 8-0 record. That changed Week 9 when Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints beat the Rams 45-35. Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas has been named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week following his dominating performance in the team's victory against the Rams. Thomas, a third-round receiver out of Ohio State, had 12 receptions for 211 yards with a 72-yard touchdown reception in the fourth quarter. The yardage was a single-game franchise record for the Saints. Michael Thomas has 70 receptions for 880 yards and 5 touchdowns, putting him on pace to shatter just about every Saints receiving record. Sunday's game was his 4th with 10 or more catches and 3rd with 100 or more yards. The Philadelphia Eagles had a bye week on Week 9, but Eagles fans everywhere felt that Week 9 was a win when both the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys lost. The Redskins lost to the Atlanta Falcons 38-14, and the Cowboys lost to the Tennessee Titans 28-14. The Philadelphia Eagles and their new addition, Golden Tate, take on their rival, the Dallas Cowboys, Sunday night. If the Eagles beat the Cowboys and the Redskins lose to the Buccaneers, the Eagles will be back in the running for the top spot in the NFC East. The Philadelphia Sixers saw injuries once again this week. Just hours ahead of the team's game against the Indiana Pacers Wednesday, the news came that forward Mike Muscala has suffered a fractured nose. He will miss at least 1 week prior to being reevaluated and will have to wear a protective mask when he returns. Sixers center Joel Embiid joins Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Walt Bellamy as the only players in NBA history with 7 30-point, 10-rebound games within their team's first 10 games of the season. Embiid leads with the NBA with 9 double-doubles in 10 games. Joel the Process Embiid is having a record-breaking season while holding 28.4 points per game and 12.6 rebounds per game. The start of the college basketball season is here, as the defending national champions, the Villanova Wildcats, defeated the Morgan State Bears 100-77. Guard Eric Pascal led the scoring for the Villanova, scoring 26 points, and guard Phil Booth followed, scoring 17. Villanova opened the first game this season in their new refurbished Fennerin Pavilion. The Wildcats seemed quite at home and dominant as usual at the new look pavilion. Villanova has won 12 straight games dating to last season and won their 16th consecutive season opener. The Philadelphia Phillies starting pitcher Aaron Nola was one of the top 3 pitchers in the National League this season. After turning in the best year of his brief career, the Phillies ace was named Monday as a finalist for the National League Cy Young Award. He's joined by the aces of 2 division rivals, the Mets' Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer of the Nationals. deGrom led the majors with a 1.70 ERA. Aaron Nola finished second in the National League with a 2.37 ERA, and Scherzer led the MLB with 300 strikeouts. The Phillies had not had a top 10 finisher in the Cy Young voting since Cole Hamels placed 6th in 2014. The last Philly to finish in the top 3 were Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee, who finished 2nd and 3rd respectively in 2011. Halladay won the award in 2010. That's all I have for you on this week's Pro Talk. Stay tuned after the break as Mo sits down with a member of the Division II ice hockey team for this week's Rowan Roundtable.
Welcome back to All Access. It's time for our Rowan Roundtable. Joining me today is Trevor Rucci from the men's Division II ice hockey team. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So my first question would be, what made you love hockey?
When I was probably about 4 or 5, my dad always had hockey skates on my feet when I was walking around the house, so it's kind of been a thing since I was that age, and I've loved it ever since.
Did your father play hockey?
He did. Not as much as I did, but he played like high school hockey, and he didn't play college.
So was it your choice to play hockey, or did he kind of push hockey on you, would you say?
I don't know if he pushed it on me, but I think I've fallen in love ever since I've been walking around the house in skates and with little mini sticks, but I've loved it since then.
Okay. So what would you say your favorite hockey memory is?
I wouldn't say I have a specific one, but all the road trips and hanging out with your friends and just making kind of like little brotherhoods with all your teammates, but it's probably the best part.
Okay. So growing up, what did you do in order to train to become a college hockey player?
It's just a lot of exercise and being in shape, running, a lot of leg stuff, core, but nothing too much really.
So would you say it's harder running or skating?
Skating. I mean, it's kind of a second nature for me now, but for most people it's tough, but definitely skating.
Okay. So how do you train exactly during the off season? Like, what do you personally do to get ready?
Probably a couple times a week I'll run a mile or 2 and do some core exercises, but nothing too crazy, just kind of relax on my off season.
Okay. So you're a forward, correct?
Yes.
Have you always been a forward?
Yes.
So never played any other position?
No, I mean, I played goalie once, but didn't work out very well, so I'm still a forward.
So playing goalie once, did it earn respect for goalies?
Yes, big time, yeah. I can't believe they even want to do that or can still think they can do it. But
So as a player, what would you say is more exciting? Scoring the game-winning goal or getting the game-winning save?
I mean, as a forward, I would love to score the game-winning goal, but if a goalie makes a big save, then that's awesome too.
Okay. So this season, you have any personal goals set?
No, not really. I mean, just try and get the team to regionals and nationals, but no really personal goals.
Okay. Going forward, what would you say your most difficult game this season will be?
Probably this weekend against Liberty University or Penn State, but they're the top dogs, so hopefully we can get a win.
And what do you think keys to winning those games would be?
Probably simplifying the game and just playing smart hockey. You can't really try to do too much because they're a pretty good hockey team, so you just got to play smart.
Okay. So, question to you. With sports like football and, boxing and basketball trying to make the game more safe for players, you think hockey will eventually take the step to make it safer for their players?
I mean, I hope not. There's nothing really too bad. I mean, there's some stuff they could probably take out, but the game's played at such a high level and a high pace, so it's hard to stop it.
Okay. Now, and keeping going with that, I know you're a collegiate athlete, but looking at professional hockey, do you think the fights need to be eliminated from the game all in all?
I mean, I think it could be taken out a little bit, but I think it's nice to have in there every once in a while to maybe get the players going, but I don't think it should be taken out.
That is all the time we have for this Rowan Roundtable. I would like to thank Trevor for joining me. After the break, Ayala Gideon sits down with Coach John Caulfield, so stick around.
Welcome back to All Access. Time for this week's Prof Spotlight. Joining me today is Coach John Caulfield from the Men's Division II Ice Hockey Team. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. As a coach, what are some values you try to establish with your team?
Right off the bat, I'd say hard work. I like a team that's ready to go to work, strong work ethic, make sure that everybody's coming in giving an honest effort. Something I feel that translates once they get done playing ice hockey and they can take it into the real world as a real life skill.
Right. And as you've mentioned, they are a younger team. What are some difficulties you face with that?
A lot of bad habits. It's, they're not used to playing for me. I'm not used to having them. So there's a little bit of a learning curve. There's a little bit of getting to know you time. I've been told I'm not the easiest person to get along with. So sometimes what I'm asking for, I may not be expressing myself clearly enough, and they may not understand exactly what I want. So it's a lot like any new relationship. You have to work your way through some bumpy patches until you get a full understanding of how everything has to work. There's some give and there's some take, and I'm really good at giving, but I don't really like to take too much back.
Right. Okay, so overall, let's talk about, the Rowan Ice Hockey program and your experience with the team.
Yeah, the program was started in 1973. It was a probationary club. Skated out of Cherry Hill for a little bit, and then in 1976 they got the charter, skated out the University of Delaware, all through the 80s at the University of Delaware. I guess when Hollydale built the rink not far from campus, during the Rowan name change from Glassboro State to Rowan, started to grow a little bit more. I came in 13 seasons ago, and since that time, I guess we sort of paralleled the expansion of the school and the growth rate of the school and how many more students have come in. We've gotten to the point now where we actually have two programs here at Rowan, including a women's program, which I had nothing to do with, but also just the growth of hockey matching with the growth of school. We get somewhere between 60 and 80 guys every year at tryouts. So
right. So for what I'm hearing is that your guys like Rowan's on the way up.
Yes, I think so. I think so for sure.
All right. Experience and overall takeaway from each regional competition at the end of each year.
Yeah, it's well, you're playing teams from all over the region. So we've played Liberty, we've played Miami of Ohio, we've played some local teams. We've gone down to played TCNJ, which is weird that we would play them down in Virginia, but they're also in our region. So you take away, you see that there's guys from different regions. You realize how small a lot of your players are when you compare them to some of the other schools. Some of the bigger name schools have older freshmen. Their freshmen are 21 years old after playing juniors, where we have a lot of 18-year-olds. But the takeaway I get most of the time I go down there is that just the same as any other team, we can hang with anybody we play against.
Right, and they probably have more older and established programs.
They have some older guys for sure. Some of those guys can grow better facial hair than I can.
All right, so are there any particular highlights from this season that you'd like to mention?
We're just getting started. We've been 7 games in. We're hot and cold. We're still trying to find our way. We got 12 new faces this year. We had 7 from last year, so we got 19 guys that are still really trying to find their way, not only just through college, but also along the way in the ice hockey on the ice hockey team. So we're still trying to mesh, trying to find our way. But I think we're starting to come together. We got back from Virginia. We had a real good weekend down there.
Nice.
And I think long bus ride helps team bond together, some hotel time together, kind of meshes the team well. I think Highlight-wise, I wouldn't say we have anything that is really say, oh man, that was like one of the best events. But coming up, we have an outdoor game against Villanova in December.
Which is very exciting.
Yeah, it's a real good time being. It's just fun to be outside. It's a little cold if you're not one of the players, but I think the players really appreciate the
different atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a different look than being inside a container. You're outside, you're playing under the lights, under the stars. It just has just has a different atmosphere, much more of a festival vibe.
All right, cool. Who were some unexpected players that you realized, like growth-wise, and taking on leadership positions?
Well, it's funny that you say leadership positions because so we graduate captain from last season. Was we seniors? We got a guy named Tucker Simmons who stepped in as a team captain this year. Tucker's an interesting player. His freshman year, he tried out. He was cut. His sophomore year, he came on with us as a practice player, and clearly I have no idea how to judge talent because he has been nothing but awesome for us. He's solid on the penalty kill. He's a great locker room guy. And this year his teammates voted him as team captain. So
well, talk about improvement.
Yeah, he's right. So going from cut to, and actually when I texted him this summer, I said to him, did you hear about the kid that got cut in his freshman year? He went on to become the captain of his hockey team. So it was kind of a cool thing.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, so it's really, I love stories like that. Plus,
Honestly.
we got a second-year player with us, Trevor. He's here today, actually. He's starting to take more of a leadership role. He's got a big mouth, so he's not afraid to tell people how things are. And he's a solid leader on and on. It's exactly. I love it. I don't want to be the biggest mouth in the room because people can shut you out and they get tired of hearing about it. So when you get guys like Trevor and Tuck who are willing to step up and say, hey, look, this is how things have to be done, players are more responsive to hearing it from their peers than they are from an old guy.
Yeah, in response to some of the losses that you faced, what are the takeaways from those games?
Well, a lot of it was we resort to bad habits and taking shortcuts. The game against James Madison, we started out slow. We ended up chasing the game. It's a lot harder to play on the road when you have to come from behind, and we just weren't very strong in certain aspects in our own defensive zone. It was just some bad habits we had gotten into. I think we've worked our way out of it, but at the time it was not a fun experience. Definitely not one of the highlights having to travel down to Virginia for that. But Penn State lost. That was a close game. It was just one of those deals where you get a puck bounce here or there. What the heck else did we lose to? Oh, we lost to Montclair in overtime. That game was just a slugfest. We would score, they would score, they would score, we would score. It went back and forth, and
very high stakes.
Yeah, it's 6-5. It was. I mean, it's a fun game if you're a spectator. I don't mind the high scoring games, but not much of a defensive battle. And then once you get into overtime, and anything happens. So they just happened to they made a good play in overtime to win the game.
Yeah. So do you take away those losses that you face, and then do you like you mentioned defensively, you needed more improvement in that area? Do you initiate more stuff like that in practices and whatnot?
So what we'll do is we'll scrimmage 5-on-5, and I'll focus on face-off zone stuff. I'll stop the scrimmage in motion and get people to freeze, be aware of where they're standing, try and point out what I want them to do, where I want them to be, where they should have their sticks, which way they should face their body. Right. Once they get the puck, what are their choices of what they should make. Just try to put that tool into their toolbox so that when the situation arises live in the game, they don't have to think as much. It's already there in their
instinctive.
Head. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to get to. Mostly, I'm sure they just hear me yelling, no, 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 no. And I'm hoping that slowing down the scrimmage and stop-start is actually having an effect.
All right. Favorite aspect of being coach for the Rowan Ice Hockey program?
I love being in charge of things.
Right.
No, I love hanging around. I love hanging around the kids. It keeps me. I feel like a younger person. So you hang around old people, you feel old. You hang around the kids, I feel like I'm still not too good with all the music. I have no idea who any of the young people.
Like the warm-up practice music.
Yeah, I mean the warm-up music. I couldn't tell you any of the songs that are in it, but they come to the rink with such enthusiasm and such passion for the game that it's hard not to catch on to that. And I really like the way I feel about myself, and I like to see when they perform well. I feel very proud to watch them play the game, especially when they play with a passion and emotion.
Right. What are some improvements that you notice about this team this season in comparison to last season?
So much younger this year. It's hard to say what improvements. We have such a big turnaround, an odd year. It's been a while since we have had this kind of turnaround. So it's hard to say, well, we've improved here, we've improved there. We've certainly gotten younger, and some of the guys who have come in, some of the younger guys have a lot of talent. And once we get them into our philosophy and into our mindset, I think you're going to see a lot of great things from this team.
Well, that's what I'm betting on.
I like bet on us.
Well, I'm
New
excited for
Jersey
you.
legalized gambling, you should be sad.
Oh, that is all the time we have. I'd like to thank Coach Caulfield again for coming. Derek and Rebecca, back to you at the desk.
Welcome back to All Access. Time to round off this show with some of the indoor sports. Derek?
Thanks, Rebecca. On Thursday, the Rowan University women's volleyball team ended their season in the NJAC semifinals championship tournament. The team lost every set to Keene University. The score ended 3-0. The opening stanza ended with a score of 25-15. The second set ended with a score of 25-19, and the final set ended with a score of 25-22. Following this match, the Rowan women's volleyball team wrapped up their season. The Profs ended the season with a 17-16 record.
The women's swimming and diving team traveled to Montclair State University on Saturday to take on the Red Hawks. The 200 medley relay as well as the 400 freestyle relay teams took first place in the events. Miranda Coughlin had first place wins in the 50 and 100 freestyle races. Abigail Bross took first place in the 100 backstroke with a time of 1 minute, 1.51 seconds. Carly Timmons would get the first place wins in 1,000 and 500 freestyles. The team would take the victory 192-108, improving to 2-1 on the season. They are currently participating in a meet at Keene University.
The men's swimming and diving team also traveled to Montclair State University this Saturday. The 200 medley relay took first place, as well as the 400 freestyle team. Kevin Galuli earned first place nods in the 100 backstroke and the 100 free, with times of 53 seconds and 48 seconds, respectively. Jake Coyote had wins in the 50 free and the 100 butterfly. Dan Lawton took first place in the 100 and 200 backstroke events. This is just a small portion of the team's first place finishes, as the team took the victory 219-75. They improved to 2-1 on the season and are currently taking on Keene University on the road. That does it here on All Access. I'm Derek Hill, and for the rest of the All Access crew, as well as Rebecca Sulzbach, Kayla Santiago, Mo Ware, and Ayala Gideon, we'll see you next time on All Access.